Do a little recap from last time if you missed it. Essentially, all of our characters met up in a bar, and we had a little bit of tensions between a few characters because of how they entered, and we had a few drinks. Names were messed up a little bit, but we have Yannick. He had a little bit of a rat problem in his basement that we took care of, and as soon as we were done helping out that issue, things got a little weird with a little rumbling. We find ourselves outside to find a huge water dragon destroy 1/3 of the town area that we were at. There was three town areas. One of them got completely wiped off the map. So if you want to catch every detail, please go check out my YouTube, !socials if you're in chat right now. And let's get session 2 going, all right? Plus, I have a whole new D&D scene that I'm excited to show off. So let's switch over to that.
Right, so welcome back. We're into our second session now of what I've codenamed Storm Brew as our homebrew D&D session. And going into this session, basically, we're going to give a quick wee recap of everything that happened in session 1. We're going to ask for lots of patience from the audience and any of the viewers. We're going to be asking lots of questions. No such thing as stupid questions. Everybody gets to ask as many as they want. And you're going to be allowed to test my patience as much as you possibly can, as I test your patience by quickly expressing all my thoughts in an Irish accent with a microphone that we have been known to find is incredibly inconsistent. So far so good with the test of the lower sounding voice. Our party found themselves in an area called the Bermude Trifecta, which was a coastal region that had 3 small towns. The northern town was known as Summerthorn, where our party found themselves just in the immediate region of the tavern known as the Fine Bat, which was looked after by Yannick Finney in his barkeep as the party prepared for the potential birthday celebration of Jarvis, a beloved resident of the Trifecta area. However, while waiting for Jarvis to arrive for his birthday party, who had attended his family home in Shellberg, the party were asked by Yannick the barkeep to assist him with a supply and demand issue that he was having with Chesterfield ale, which he was finding was running out and was being stolen by rats, as he was concerned, as he embarrassed and shyly told the party that they were speaking to him and, giving demand for him to stay out of the basement. They even dared to scare his beloved puppy Calais, who ran down to the basement and came scampering back, to which the party did not accept that. You don't treat puppies like this. Oh no. So under the promise of free drinks coming into the birthday party later on this evening, the party ventured downstairs where they were met with 3 not so intricate rat costumes and a larger rat folk figure who they battled and realized they'd been stealing the eel and taking it down into the basement area, leading into deserted sewers for the town. Following dealing with this escapade, the party was about to begin when the entire town was being shook. Rian in particular was suffering from almost a chronic migraine, almost the equivalent of multiple explosions inside her brain as voices were torturing her at that moment. The party found themselves running out of the Fine Bat into the town square, which itself was close to the edge between Summerthorn and Shellberg, when from the depth rose a colossal water dragon that introduced itself as Casera. Casera's voice boomed across the small town, to which Rian identified that this was actually one of the voices that was torturing the inside of her skull at that moment. Casera boomed her voice across the town. These waters had been forbidden. Nobody was to enter these waters, and she had noticed a disturbance, taking this as an ultimate sign of disrespect for the people of the Bermude Trifecta. Across to the small town, central town of Shellberg, which was these residents knew it had been forbidden to enter the water under the terms of the town council and the threats of Casera. However, the dragon attacked the Shellberg town and punctuated this with a towering tsunami wave, which just drowned everything in its path, caused buildings to crumble, swept away port areas that had been long deserted of boats, and residents were left clinging to any fragment of high ground that they had. Basically, there'd been a lower part of the town and a slightly higher part of the town. The lower town was almost gone to the point there was only a few rooftops being left. Upper town had the water had cascaded right the way up this hill, was beginning to fall away, but was still damaged quite severely, especially with the buildings. You can see signs of subsidence and foundations starting to give way. The dragon had loomed over the town, threatened the town, and returned to its depth of the ocean floor, of which we do not know what has happened to this day. We find ourselves, this town, Shellberg, that had suffered recently just economic inactivity, especially with the ports being out of commission, now facing an insurmountable challenge, not only just to recover, but potentially to survive altogether. And the survivors of Upper Town, including the home of beloved resident Jarvis, the drow mentor for Dreg Rienfeld, apologies if I've butchered the name, they're left to wonder what the future held in the shadow of such unbridled destruction. And we find ourselves still in the town square of Summerthorn, looking across at Shellberg, with one of our party, Rian, on the ground underneath, clutching her temples, following this mental intrusion from Casera at the edge of Summerthorn, looking across the devastation of Shellberg. And we find our way back to our party to see how they are reacting to the aftermath of the destruction in front of them.
All right, so Claude runs over to Rian, not knowing what's going on, trying to heal her with his lay on hands to heal HP.
Cool. You find it has more of there's probably more of a sentimental and an emotional benefit for Rian, as opposed to her having any actual damage being struck to her. So it's helping to soothe that a little bit. There wasn't any actual mechanic-wise HP to heal, but possibly, she can tell me how she reacts to that, but it's potentially more of a fine gesture.
Yes, there's more of a numbing effect. Still just immense sadness at the loss of Jarvis. And I don't know where to go now. Jarvis is why I'm here in the city. He was teaching me. Where am I supposed to go?
We don't. Do we see any people on the rooftops that's left over in Shellberg? Is there any survivors that we can spot?
Yeah, so you would look across and almost imagine it looking at the side. Imagine from the side point of view, it's almost like a hill. So there's a slight incline in that, almost slightly step formation built up. At the lowest part, you can still see rooftops. And there's some people clambering onto rooftops. Some of the structures aren't quite stable because it's rudimentary building technology. In this case, you can see some people almost, their foot kind of breaking through the top of rooftops. And there's a midtown and there's an upper town. They seem to be just by name, just by physical name, as opposed to any sort of level of status in that. Okay? Rian, if you were to look across and look over to where Jarvis's house is in Shellberg, would you say that he was a midtown or an upper town house?
He was probably midtown.
Yeah, midtown. So you can see from midtown, there's actually a lot more buildings still secure in there. None of the buildings in midtown have been swept away. And probably the closest part to you can actually start to see it. And from what you know to be Jarvis's house, it is actually still standing. in that area. So that house is still standing. A lot of Lower Town has been swept away. A couple of the houses in Midtown have been swept away, probably more on the northeastern side of things. But from where you can see Jarvis's house, you can see the roof is broken, but most of the rest of the building is still there.
We should go. I need to go find Jarvis. I feel like I need to go see him.
Yeah, is there a way we can get over there? Do we see any boats, or is it walkable? Is there a bridge still intact, or?
Yeah, there's still a bridge intact. Most of the damage you could imagine being on the far side of Shellberg. So if you guys were in the northern town, let's call this more. If you remember the map, there was the 3 towns. Let's call it the more southern part of Shellburn is the one that's taken the most devastation. And this northern part, which is the closest part to Summerthorn, has taken a lot of water damage, but maybe not as much explicit damage. So that's why you can get a bridge across to there. You can still see a lot of the water. If you were to walk across in the midtown, because gravity is having an effect now as you've watched this devastation, it's probably going to be closer to maybe waist to knee height. And you can imagine over time, as you make your way across, that's going to start to continue to flow away from that area. So yeah, you could make your way over there. And Rian is probably the best guide because she actually knows where Jarvis's house has been. She's been there many times. So she has an idea of where she's going.
Yeah, maybe we go look for survivors. Try to help out.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Sounds like a good story.
Thomas had brought a barrel out of the bar with him, and after the dragon had resurfaced and went under, Thomas is more used to knowing fights that he's going into, being kind of on a pirate ship, like he knows when the fighting's happening. So have something so unexpected happen, he just takes the keg and kind of puts it up on a wall that's just slightly than him, and just started pouring some drink to himself. Not really knowing how to act in the situation. He just kind of took a big long sip. She's on the ground freaking out. A big ass dragon that he doesn't know what the hell that was about just came and went. So he's gonna follow with the group, but he needed a drink of courage to get himself, his mind moving again.
Cool. So everybody's still interested in potentially making their way towards what we hope to be.
Oh no.
Jarvis's res in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Rian, lead the way.
Claude pulls Thomas aside real quick and goes, hey, not saying it's your fault, but did anybody else see you climbing out of that water today or yesterday? Today? Yeah.
I don't think anyone had seen me in the water in the first place.
All right. Just making sure. Might want to keep your head low.
I'll blend in.
As you're making your way towards it, you can see Yannick at the base of a tree in Summerthorn. He's going, Calais, where are you? Calais, where are you? He's starting to cry. And it's basically on your way towards the bridge that you would be crossing over into Shellberg.
That was Yannick that was saying that?
Was Yannick
okay, looking for
yeah.
his dog. Oh.
So Yannick lost his dog.
If you guys are going that way, I can help Yannick with his dog.
In the same direction, thankfully. You're all going
okay.
kind of in the same direction now.
Okay, so we make our way across. I don't know how to.
Yannick's basically panicking at this stage. And
okay.
As he's looking around him, he's looking out towards the water, he's looking towards his bar. And as you make your way over, you start to hear a slight
Find it.
Yeah,
Where's that sound coming from?
Yannick can't hear this. He doesn't have his ear trumpet, so he's not hearing anything here. So he has no idea what's going on.
So you can't hear the. Can I do? I guess would it be a perception check for?
Whichever one you want. It could be probably closer to investigation, but if you have higher perception, I'm fine for you to roll that modifier. So anyone who wants to make this check is rolling your d20. and adding either your investigation or your perception modifier.
3.
Cool. Claude, maybe more concerned with helping Rian making her way towards the town. You know, you're like, I wish I could help, but I'm going to make sure that she's okay. Yeah. So sometimes you can kind of come up with reasons why it's a 3 because like I'm distracted, as opposed to always, I don't know how to find anything. You know, and sometimes it is that. You know.
With my perception, I got a 12.
I got a 14.
12 for Tommy, 14 for Viator. Anyone else roll?
17.
17. We got our wood elf who knows exactly. He's heard this sound. This sounds like a small dog, but not placed at ground level. It's almost like the bark of a dog, and it's cutting through leaves and cutting through small branches in the area. That's what it sounds like to you. So naturally, that would give you the instinct to look up. And in a nearby tree, Calais is just shivering in the tree. She's soaking wet, but she's like clinging onto a branch, almost like her arms underneath her, and she's just clinging. And you can see that she's like almost too scared to move or too scared to do anything in case she falls.
Is Logan?
I climb the tree and attempt to rescue.
Perfect. I'm going to ask you to roll an athletics check, please.
I'm
going to give you.
Can I help in any way? Like help boost him into the tree? Like.
Yeah, if you want to help boost him into the tree, then that will allow Logan to roll with advantage. Because this tree, the bark, it's soaking. You know, it's taking a little bit of residual water from the thing, so it's quite slippery. So he would actually benefit from a bit of a boost.
Come on, give me a boost.
Yep, I'm boosting you. So roll with advantage, so you get to roll it d20 twice, right?
Roll with advantage for athletics.
And I'm rolling a d20 for that?
Yes, please.
All right. 8 on the first. 20 on the second. All right.
Yo, that's 20.
First roll.
We turned into like a perfect cheerleader squad. I just like, whoop.
Yeah, and in that moment, Tommy's feeling very impressed with himself because, as far as he's concerned, this is exactly where this happened. So he barely left it. But Logan, with his very light-footed half-elf, just like straight up into the branch beside Calais. Calais is terrified at the moment. Calais has only actually met you once before, so she's still not quite sure. So I'm going to ask you to do an animal handling check to try to either convince her into your arms or to convince her to at least let go of this really, really tight grip because she's absolutely terrified.
I have an animal handling +2, and this is just always going to be a d20 pretty much, unless told otherwise?
Most skill checks, pretty much everything's a d20 unless otherwise told. Yeah.
Okay. 14 plus 2.
That's like 16, yeah. So you are, and you can tell me this if you want, but basically you are cajoling her, you're stroking her hair, you know, maybe you've got like a cloth that you can dry her off with, and with that warmth and affection being shown, you can see that trust from herself, and she kind of just barely creeps over into your lap, just snuggles there. She's shivering. Aww. But she's sitting in your lap at the moment. You've successfully got her off the branch of the tree.
Excellent. So how do I get her down?
So you could try to drop her down to Tommy. You could try to climb down yourself. You might maybe have like a bit of rope and you want to lower her down, almost like tie it around her tummy.
Like, do I have that in my inventory?
Yeah.
I have a grappling hook.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
There's a time to use it.
Yeah, you can use the rope end of it and just lower her down if you want to go with that.
Yeah. I'm gonna tie the grappling hook around one of the branches and lower us both down gently.
Fantastic. Love that. So Calais is now out of the tree right before you hand her over back to Yannick. She looks around, big puppy dog eyes, right in your face, and just starts licking your chin. Whimpering as a whimper. And happy to leap back into Yannick's arms, and Yannick is absolutely delighted. Absolutely delighted. He just thanks you so much. He he's kind of almost wanting to give you a hug, but he's got a puppy in one arm, so it's kind of more like a hug / holding your shoulder. Like he's just incredibly appreciative. What you also notice well at that point is the bar, what do you call him, patron, who you give the mop drink to, sees this, and after previously calling you pointy ear, just looks at you and just gives you just a quiet, just walks off back towards his home. He's half devastated by the thing, but he's seen this incredible act of kindness, and this is just a quiet respect towards you. Perfect. Cool. So Calais is safely with Yannick. I imagine you continue your way towards Midtown. Would that be correct?
Yeah, following Rian.
That's it. Cool. As you're coming towards the bridge in towards Shellberg, you start to see some at the far side, a little bit into Upper Town. You start to see a little bit of smoke rising from a couple of different buildings. There's a little bit of shouting, a little bit of kind of panic in these areas. You can hear a lot of running about, bit of shouting, some aggressive shouting as you're making towards Midtown. Rian, you know that you are only about 5 minutes out now from Jarvis's house. That's why it wasn't that big of a deal for Jarvis to go there before going to the party, because he pretty much lived almost on the border between Summerthorn and Shellberg. So you know you're not that far away. As you're going through, you're starting to see a lot of water running past your feet. It's actually a little bit awkward for you guys to keep hold of your feet, keep on your feet. It's rushing really quickly down, back out towards the water, and you can see it dripping past a lot of the houses in towards sort of Lower Town as well.
Can I do a perception check as we're walking and the water's kind of flowing to see if there's anything maybe valuable rushing past me? Perhaps coin pouches or anything?
Yeah. Yep.
19.
Classic. See, as you're going through, there's an area that almost looks like had a little bit of a fountain in the middle of Midtown. And as you can hear like a knocking sound. Almost kind of erratic. It's a wooden sound over towards the edge of this fountain. If you wanted to go over and explore it.
Yeah. I'll break slightly away from the because I was kind of following in the back. I wouldn't say I'm the hero type, so I didn't go exactly rushing towards the shouting. But
so what catches your ear about this is that it's got a weight to it. You can almost hear a little bit of a metallic sound as well. That's what's sort of drawn your ear towards this being of potential worth. Okay. As you come along, you are going towards this part because there's a lot of water flowing, so you are waist height. You are waddling through this. You know, you're almost kind of up like here, right? At which you find a piece of wood banging up against the fountain with a little bit of a metallic edge on that. Can you see that? Because I can zoom in if need be.
Yeah, if you could zoom in, that'd be wonderful. That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. The Howling Boar.
The Howling Boar. Recognition from you.
What was that again?
Immediate recognition from you. You have seen this. You know this very well, but it's very damaged. Okay. There's a little bit of gold lining along some of the edges. If you wanted, you could probably try to pry that off. But anybody who'd be looking at you would be seeing this guy's just standing in the middle of the water, just prying at a piece of wood.
Is it like sign size, like something that you would hang up over a building, or is it a pocket size that I could shove it away into my duster?
No, it would be closer to about the size of almost like a masthead.
Okay, all right.
Like it's pretty significant size. It would be, you'd probably find these things quite commonly on the edges of ships.
Okay.
You know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, gold lining for the edge of the letters and around the emblem on that. Do you want to try to get them off, or do you just want to leave the board as it is?
I'm just gonna leave the board as it is, and
Cool.
I don't point it out to anybody. I just take notice of it, but I veered towards it, kind of saw what it was, and then veered back with the group. So I didn't really stay at it too long.
So as he's doing that, you were saying that there were some almost aggressive voices. I'm wondering if I could figure out what they're shouting. Are they like shouts of, I don't know, like, are they angry? Are they fighting? Like, is there looting going on, or is it?
There's a mixture actually. There's actually a bit of a mixture. There's some aggressive voices. There's some more panicked voices. You can kind of see some random people in the sort of the upper town running away.
Yeah,
you guys are more in midtown. Yeah, you see people running away. Some people run away quite determined with barrels over their shoulder, and you can see some of these barrels as well drifting past you in the water with a particular C logo correctly identified as Chesterfield Eel. So a lot of these barrels are being taken at the moment. You can see some of them going by, but you can almost see people just picking up stuff just as they can. You know, there's people running into houses. There's people running out of houses. You don't see them lifting people out of the houses. You see them lifting like boxes and curtains and anything. They're lifting things. And some people outside the house are screaming. It's like, oh my god, you can't quite. But that's the sort of tone you're hearing so far.
Chaos.
Yeah. Rian, you're making your way towards the house now. One or two of these barrels sweep past you. You don't really pay attention to them. You're so focused on getting to Jarvis's house. You have an idea where it is. His roof is completely gone. Yeah. There's water flowing out of the front door. It would be very fast, ankle height as it gets to here. And you can see sort of windows. There doesn't seem to be any life that you can see in the building at the moment.
More to myself, this is happening again. I can't believe another dragon is taking my home from me. I'm gonna go into Jarvis's home.
Yep.
That's it.
Perfect.
The door was already open, right?
Yep. Doors smashed. Doors completely smashed.
We can just
so
go in to look for Jarvis or his family, or at least see if we can figure out where they went.
In the back, can I kind of just like not exactly to anybody, like almost just to general, just like who are we looking for? Because I don't exactly know who Jarvis is.
Yeah. Okay. Rian, I'm going to assume that you've already just dashed into the building. You're not here to listen to this chit chat. You've just dashed right into the building there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Claude was nearby Rian. And then we've got Bo, we've got Logon, we've got Viator in around the middle. Tommy's kind of coming along the back, almost kind of like trying to catch up, trying to be a little bit inconspicuous about where he was or what was going on. Who's in front of the building and who's slightly to the side of the building as you're coming along? Of the other ones.
I was I'm gonna say that I was pretty close behind Rian.
Okay.
I can be on the side.
I'm on the side.
On the front of the building, I guess, is where I'd be.
Perfect. So front of the building, Bo, Viator, and Logon on the side of the building. Perception checks for Viator and Logon, please. So roll your d20 and add your perception check.
Hold on. 13. I'm coming.
All right, Viator?
15 plus
13 is what I got.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, perception. 19.
Excellent, 19. Logon, you can you hear like a bit of scraping, almost like a slight wheeze, like down at a lower level. Viator, something desperately just grasps at like the bottom of your trousers. at the top of your shoes. Like a really weak hand just catches the bottom of your trousers. When you look down at the bottom of the building, you can almost what looks like a basement window. For fantasy medieval basement window, there's a few bars on it. There's a lot of water running out there, and you can just see this blue kind of hand coming out, and every so often you see this face just appear like in the water. And when you look down, you can see this wee thing here. You can see a face in the water, barely looking up. It's really weak. It's like the first grasp was desperation wise, but it's starting to get weaker, and you get the barely keeping above the surface of the water.
Okay, so I want to try and free that person.
Perfect. Probably one of the first things you'd be looking to do is to at least try to keep his head above water. So you lean down. What do you want to do to try to keep his head above water? Are you gonna try to hold him? You're gonna hold his chin up. Is there anything you want to give him? Do you want to try to work the bars? What do you think is the absolute priority at the moment?
I want to try to give him something to help him. But I'm not sure what
cool.
I can give.
If you guys want to look through anything that you have in your inventory at the moment and come up with that, we'll come back to you in a second, so you're not necessarily on the spot.
Logan's there as well, right?
Yes, you're there. You're the one that first noticed the sound, and it's Viator that got grabbed. So right down there, you saw his attention go down there. Your attention has gone down there as well. Okay. Rhea, you're in the building at the moment. You've ran through this front door. It's quite a nice house. There's a door to a kitchen area, and you can hear a lot of running water from this door at the back, which you know is towards his basement.
Yep, I'm running towards the water.
Running towards the water. Fantastic. So you're going to make your way towards the water. You're going to get there. Anybody following Rianne into the house, or are you guys staying outside?
Yeah, I was going to follow her.
Yeah, Claude went inside.
Cool. Claude, Rianne, Bo dashing into the house. Viator, Logan, and Tommy are standing outside at the moment. Tommy, you've seen where Viator and Logan are standing at the moment. You can see them acting on something. So I imagine you're going to go towards that.
I'm more kind of just staying back and just kind of like keeping an observation of what's around. I'm not a quick to act on people I don't know kind of thing. So I see if they ask for my help, I maybe we'll see what happens. But I'm just kind of stepping back. I'm just back at the moment.
Cool. Brian, you've rushed into the basement area. You've gone past what would be the pantry area, and you've come across this highly flooded area. It's quite high up, just based obviously on this picture that I've been able to find. I'm going to take our individual off that for a second. You can see a lot of rushing water in here. It's quite dirty water, and probably what would be to the far end. You can see a little bit of light here. That's where you're going. You can see this window. You can see a lot of water. It's very high, and you can see some splashing and some activity in that water that's a little bit more erratic than just moving water in that.
Okay, I'm jumping straight into the water after a big breath, because as an air genasi, I can hold my breath indefinitely since I'm not incapacitated. So I'm going to be in the water trying to find any life.
Fantastic.
It's dope.
With those skills, you're under the water. You've a lot of experience in this. You can tell the difference between moving water and erratic water, almost like the way a shark can sense like mad flipping of like a seal or something. Okay, and for you, it's right at the far end of the room. It's kicking about. It's quite dark, so you can't quite see it, but there's a lot of activity over there in the water that's not just dripping and moving water.
I've got my hands outstretched, and I'm just trying to grab the source of this movement. Just
as you
hold of it.
Yeah, right as you get there, and you're just about, you've seen these two legs that are in the water. They're flapping about like mad, and they're starting to get a little bit slower and a little bit weaker just as you're getting there, which is coinciding with the time that Viator and Logan are acting to do something with this particular individual. Have you had any thoughts to what you wanted to do to help this individual?
Yeah.
So I search my pack and I find a water skin, and I dump the water out, and I use the surrounding air to fill that up, and then I try to push it down and give him some air from the water skin.
Yeah. I love that answer so much that I'm going to ask you on your page to do a 1d6 for the inspiration. Yep. Inspiration comes with the idea that basically if there's something I really like in terms of that's either very clever, I think it's super role play for your character, just something a little bit different. Inspiration can be just a little bit of extra dice power that you need to call upon when you really need it in the future. Okay? At any one time, you can have a single d6 in inspiration. When you use it, it gets expelled, but you can't have two at the same time. So you might as well use them when they come along. But I love
hit the
that.
wrong button. Hi, Ray.
Little
How
air
you doing?
pocket. Rian, as you're making your way towards these legs, the reason they slowed down, as it turns out, is because they're actually starting to relax. It's not, you thought it was weakness, like they were losing ability, but it's actually almost like, relax a wee bit. And you make your way there and you realize this is Jarvis. You've got there, Jarvis has got a little bit of air, and you're able to scoop up and just keep his head above the water in that moment. And he takes a deep breath and goes, he looks around, and the tears in his eyes is both joy and trauma as he looks at you, and he goes, Rian, I knew you'd save me. I knew you'd save me, girl. Thank you. We need to get out of here. We need to get out of here.
Thank you very much for the follow and welcome in.
Jarvis, where's Lorna, your wife? Where's your child? Are they here? Did you see them?
They weren't here. They weren't here when I arrived. I don't know at the moment. I came in. I just started to get settled. I came down to get some supplies because Yannick's so good to us, and I didn't want to have him foot the bill just for this party. I know it was supposed to be a surprise, but he accidentally told me, thinking that I was somebody else. So I wanted to bring some food and drink with me. So that's why I was in here. And then the door got smashed and the water came in, and thank the gods that you're here in time. Oh, sweet girl.
It was another dragon. There was a dragon again. It was just like the last time. We need to stop these dragons. I can't. I know you want to train me more, and you said I wasn't ready yet, but I need to go and get the staff.
I'm gonna need your help to get out of here. I think my leg is broken. I got slammed against the wall as all the water came in. First things first, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of here, Rian. We need to get out. And obviously, almost at that time, as the relief and the adrenaline started to wear down, because he's not going to die anymore, the pain is shooting into his leg, and the adrenaline is no longer kind of hiding the broken. We need to. And he's kind of slightly wavering. He's almost potentially going into shock with this.
Claude is at the stairs of the basement, right?
Yeah,
you
Claude,
come to that point.
Claude's gonna take out his rope and try and toss it as close as he can to see if Rian can grab on. He can tow them both back to the stairs.
I'm right behind Claude, and I shout to her like, "Here, quick, bring him here!" And I give her bardic inspiration to maybe help her get her way over here.
Yes.
Excellent. For Rian's purpose, can you describe bardic inspiration? If not, I can find it quickly as well, just in case you had it in front of you.
Oh, what's that? What is it, or how it?
Just to describe mechanically what it is for her.
Oh,
I'm using
it's
NDI,
kind of like
which I normally do to send my
my
gaming PC to my streaming PC. So I'm just doing multiple versions of that of the Discord, and I just resized everybody before the session.
An inspiration die of 1d6 for 10 minutes. You can add that to any ability check, attack roll, or saving throw.
Classic. An extremely useful ability for Bard going forward, and it's almost kind of going to be one of your go-tos when it comes to a lot of situations. So in that, Rian, across the water, Bo's basically, he's calling out, there's a real passion in his voice, and that's almost like inspiring you if you feel the need to call upon that. That's giving you a little bit of extra will, a little bit of extra grit, possibly. to help you achieve what you want to do within these next sort of 10 minutes or so, approximately. Okay? If there are any checks and things that you want to do going forward. Okay? Cool. So you've got the assistance of Claude's rope. You've got the assistance of Bo inspiring. And you've got Jarvis in your arms. And as you're looking through the gap, you can see Viator and Logon there right at the window, and they're noticing you at the moment. They've noticed Jarvis talking to somebody in that. But you can see them almost reaching in to try to keep Jarvis up high. You can see this water skin has made its way through the bars and has helped Jarvis basically catch his breath in that.
I've wrapped the rope around a few times around my arm, and I'm just getting towed in that way while holding Jarvis around the waist. There's not much I can do but hold on both sides until we get to the stairs. I don't know how quick you were going.
Cool. So, Claude, you're pulling this on your own at the moment, I see?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm just tugging her in once I see they're secure.
Oh, you gonna help with the rope tugging? You kind of just keep an eye out for other threats? What's going on with you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can try to help with the rope. I don't know if it's a 2-man job or not, but I'm there, pulling up my sleeves.
Yeah, naturally, even just having a second person there is just that little bit of extra effort, that little bit of extra energy, that speed, kind of to bring them closer to that. It actually also helps steady the rope as well, because there's a lot of moving water in here. So in fact, it's actually not only helping them to get over there quicker, but it's keeping them steady a little bit, and means that Rianne is not having to put as much focus into her grip to maintain Jarvis. So that's a useful addition when it comes to that. And basically, you make your way back to what would have been the stairs down into the basement, and back towards the door, and potentially up into the main living space of Jarvis's house. So you've got Jarvis. He's in the room here. He's no longer in immediate danger, but you can see he's potentially going into shock. He's been cold. This water's cold. There's a lot of pain. There's a bit of blood coming from his leg. He's not responsive anymore. What do you guys want to do?
Claude, he's hurt. He said his leg was broken.
All right, Claude's gonna deal with the most immediate-looking wound, be that his leg, unless there's something else that looks more severe.
Yeah.
And he's gonna use his lay on hands to heal 5 HP.
That's enough to sort of settle Jarvis, and then that the leg's still broken, so it's not like you've necessarily healed the broken bone. But you've taken a lot of the potential threat for infection out. The cut is secured. There's no more bleeding, and it's just done enough to sort of settle him in that moment. Okay? So well done on that. As you're sort of settling there, Logon, Viator, Tommy, that angry shouting, it's starting to come your way. See, as you've been sitting there, this water around your knees, your ankles has started to dissipate a little bit more. It's a little bit clearer in terms of the water. But now this shouting, and there's more buildings nearby that are sort of smoking up, and you can hear a lot of shouting coming your way.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do a perception check if it's like people moving towards us, or if it's like I hear distantly different like pockets of shouting.
I'm going to go with that being sort of relatively easy check for you. It's definitely coming towards you. There's some people that are screaming, quite scared. There are other people and windows breaking, and a few more flames kind of popping up in other buildings. So it's definitely coming your direction.
Can I kind of poke my head into the door to the other folks and be like, I kind of know the sound of a mob when I hear one. Any idea who's this guy again? The guy, because I don't know who this person is on the floor with the broken leg that we just, well, not we, some of us just decided to save. So who's this? Is the mob coming for this guy?
So we got an angry mob coming? Is that what you're saying?
when people get a little riled up and get loud, it's usually not for the best that I've seen.
So we got to get out of here. Can we like fashion a stretcher? What do you call it? Do you know how to splint a broken leg?
Anybody who wants to see how they can do a medicine check. So I'd say between Bo, just for this moment, just because you asked the question, I'm going to assume that you don't know how to do it. So I'm not going to suggest you do the medicine check.
I mean, I guess I should have. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's a good example of just going, okay, just for role play wise, rather than just I want to roll everything. Yeah.
No, I saw Claude, lay hands, so I figured he has better. I mean, he's a better healer than I.
Yeah, I rolled a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Yeah, absolutely. See in the corner of the room, there's a table here. There's like a coat hanger. There's lots of things here that you know that you could just break into the length, wrap around, and even a little bit of a tablecloth around here. There's a carpet, a lot of stuff that you can break in, line up, look at Rian in that moment and go, you're going to have to hold him down here because this reset is going to hurt a lot. Yeah. And in that moment, you can just hold the ankle. Rian's going to hold Jarvis down, and you're going to hear just a really quick, really clean in that. And at the moment, Jarvis goes, oh! and faints with the pain. But that's enough to get the splinter around the leg wrapped around. That's going to heal really well. There's not going to be any sort of long-term damage from that. But he's not walking on that leg anytime soon. But you've done a lot to prevent future repercussions with that leg for him. Yeah. So well done with that.
Can I run in behind Timmy and then like go in and check on Jarvis? I kind of bump into him a little bit.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So you bumped into the room, Tommy. You've been, Tommy as the DM, I say, has been sort of bumped quickly in the shoulder. Viator's crashed into the room. Viator, you've noticed the guy on the table is the guy that was at the window of the basement that you'd give the water skin to.
So I want to go and check up on him and see how he's doing. Talk to him.
Okay. The crowd outside still getting nice and loud. You guys are on the table. Jarvis is unconscious at the moment. And what does anybody want to do?
I want to get out of here.
Can I wants to get levitate with the D6 or with the added bardic inspiration?
Yes, of course.
Levitate Jarvis, like.
Can indeed, yeah. So is levitate? Is that like an attack, or does it just automatically happen, or?
It's something that needs to be cast. So it's one action, range area 60 feet.
What?
It can last up to 10 minutes, so we can at least get him out of the house.
So happy enough for you to do that rather than sort of slow things up in terms of seeing the actual description. I'm happy enough to go with, Rayan, this is Jarvis. You're going to do absolutely anything you can, regardless of whether, doesn't matter. Logic doesn't matter anymore. You're saving this guy as much as you possibly can. Okay?
Okay.
Can Logan like climb up on the roof and look around to see where the sounds are coming from and try to find like a good escape route?
Yeah, so you look up and the roof is very, very damaged, but there are perches on the wall, like windowsills, the top of the window, along the sort of, it was basically almost like a 1.5 story building, so it wasn't a particularly large one. So you can still see the roof is completely open. So I'll ask you to do an athletics check to go up there. The walls are really wet. The stonework, is still covered. The handlings aren't quite as perfect as you'd want them to be, because of course this building took a lot of damage. So I'm going to ask you to roll an athletics check.
Just got a 7.
Yeah. You basically were able to get your hand grasped onto the window, and you're able to get a little bit of a leap, but it's quite slippy, so you didn't outright fall, but you haven't been able to get a grip on this attempt of climbing up.
All right, guys, I think our best bet is to try and make it back to the Fine Bat, if we can make it past these crowds.
The sounds outside are getting really loud now. They're probably maybe a street or two away, and you hear lots of different voices. And you also hear one very large, gruff voice, and you can hear him. He's billowing of a voice. And he's just going, "Get away from my shop! You villains! How dare you! Get away! What sort of community spirit is this, you monsters?"
They seem a little busy. We should go.
I don't know, Claude. You said you were going to look for survivors. It sounds like there's some people in need over there.
Yeah, I can't let these guys just loot a shopkeeper while he's there.
Can we? Are we good to leave Jarvis here, or should we bring him with us?
He's levitating for like a few minutes.
We can get him. Yeah, can we get him somewhere safe?
Yeah, can we tell?
Rian, do you know anywhere safe that we can get him, that we can stabilize him and leave him like in a safe spot?
Is
you know this town?
What was it? The upper town you said was safer. Is it close enough to? Like,
yeah, it's pretty close.
Wind push him over there.
You also it is pretty close, so that's absolutely fine. But you also know that a lot of the shouting was coming from that direction. Originally coming from that direction. So basically, as you step outside, you see this large individual right outside across the street from you, and he's going, "Get away from my shop, you monsters! Like these are our homes. Like, how could you take advantage of us in this way?" And in that, you start to see basically a random band of individuals just running about the place, breaking windows. Some of them have got barrels underneath their arms. Some of them have random boxes of things, and they're wearing clothes that don't fit them, but they're nicer than what they have. They're just randomly stacking stuff on top of themselves, and they're cornering this big butcher. You're like, come on, buddy, it's for the community. We all need food. Look at how bad things have. Come on, share and share alike.
All right, Claude's not going to wait. He's going to run up and try and intimidate these guys out of here. He's going to tell them, "Look, this isn't the time for looting. This is the time for helping. All right,
cool.
It's time for you."
I was going to follow up on that also with him, and they're like, "Hey guys, this is not like this. This is not your time. Like, this is not your shop, guys. Everybody needs help." I'm gonna try to also intimidate with him. Be like, "If you're gonna mess with the town, you're gonna mess with all of us."
Okay, fantastic. Claude, are you looking to intimidate or looking to persuade?
Persuasion, intimidation.
Intimidation, cool. Roll with intimidation. Yeah, and because Bo's basically helping you, Bo, I'm gonna let you choose. Do you want to do your own intimidation check, or are you supporting Claude's intimidation check?
I'm gonna follow his lead, but I would like to also try to intimidate as well.
Fantastic. Both roll for intimidation checks, please, with your D20.
This little bard next to a big hunk.
Roll 5 + 3 for an 8.
I rolled a 4 + 3 for a 7.
Oh man.
Okay. So right as you were about to say that moment, a little bit of water just splashed up and kind of got you in the throat, and so your intimidation was like, "Hey guys, blah, blah, blah." You got some salt water in your mouth. It's like, blah, 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 blah. Back off. Hasn't worked for these guys. They one or two of them turn around. They're kind of laughing. You can see this Noel character, this almost like a humanoid dog character, is almost laughing like a hyena. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it?
All right. So since we failed in that attack, be like, "Hey, so we obviously don't want any trouble. You don't want any trouble. Everyone just wants to get by. How about you leave our shopkeeper's stuff here alone and take what isn't his?" So now I'm going to try to persuade them.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to you in a second in that one. Rian, you're coming out of the door with the levitating Jarvis. Tommy's there at the door. Viator's coming out of the door. Logon's pretty much already outside the door. Is there anything that you guys want to do before we come back to Bo's secondary attempt at convincing?
I would like to can I like stealth or sneak or whatever the right word is to get a like either down an alley or around the corner of a building to get like a better position on them if this goes down.
Yeah, perfect.
So rather than speaking, I'd like position myself somewhere better.
Cool. I'm gonna let you do a stealth check, and I'm gonna let you do that with advantage. I'm not gonna do advantage all the time, but when there's reasons that I do it, just so you don't think I'm fluffing it and you guys get easy rolls. But the reason for this is they got distracted and they're actually laughing at Claude and Bo with that, so they're not paying attention to you in your attempt to go anywhere else. As far as you're concerned, you're just a random member of the crowd.
Yeah, I'm trying to not look so much like the group, almost like I walked out and I'm going my slightly own way.
So stealth with advantage.
I got a 21.
What do you want to do? What you tell me? What do you think you're trying to do? Like, there's alleyways nearby. There's things you can hide behind. There's crowds of people you can run in amongst.
So, and you can tell me if this is different. I imagine the storekeeper in front of his building. These people kind of right in front of the storekeeper.
Yeah.
Is there an alley that I could loop behind the building so that I'm now on the backside of this group? So this bad group would be between me and my current group that I'm running with.
Yes. Lots of thin, skinny alleyways, running of water. Your really high roll on your 21 is what I'm going to allow you to kind of get past sneakily, so they're not going to hear a bunch of slush footprints as you go by. Really, really good roll. You've been able to get around that, so maybe you're on the opposite side of your group now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're almost closer to the butcher than you are to the group. One or two of them are looking at the butcher, but about 3 or 4 of them have turned around to the guys who kind of laughably tried to intimidate them. You know, this is their time now. This is the opportunity they've been waiting for. Nothing's going to get in their way. So yeah, you're around there at that moment.
So I'm just kind of peeking out, keeping an eye out. I'm not going to do anything else. I just kind of wandered off into a better position.
Rian, I imagine you're still focused on Jarvis. That's really your priority with him. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I might maybe recognize just in passing a couple of them from the market. Some of the darker transactions that happen.
Okay, yeah, no, I like that one. So yeah, you've known this town for a while, so you might actually know 1 or 2 of these ones. You don't know the dog figure. You do know this kid who's grabbed the chicken, and you do know this farmer. The names of which you remember, because I don't know them, because they're 6 random individuals to me. So you see these 2 people that you recognize. How do you want to interact with them? How do you want to try to maybe disband them or persuade them to leave things going? This guy, you know his mum. He's got this chicken in his hand, like he's almost just there for the crack. You know, he's just having a lad of it. This guy has been having a really hard time on the farm recently. He's just trying to make things go, so he's probably just seen an opportunity to try to get a little bit ahead. You know, so you know these people, they're not bad people, but they're certainly mischievous people, and they're certainly being opportunistic right now in a negative way.
We'll say boy with the chicken.
Yeah.
Is Brantley.
Yeah.
Brantley, what are you doing out here? You know your mother doesn't want you wandering around. Like, what is this? What are you guys doing?
He turns around and goes, do you know where she is, by the way? It's just, I was, actually, yeah, what the hell am I doing here? It's just, I was trying to, I'm sorry, Rian. You're right. I gotta go find my mom. He runs off. He's disbanded from that. He was never really part of these. These ones are going to go. Goes, you coward! Yeah, mommy's boy. Blah, 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 blah. You know. You want to try to say anything to the farmer?
Yeah, I don't think I know him quite as well.
Know him quite as well.
Cool. I know he's a little bit darker, and I've always just wanted Brantley to not hang out with him as much.
Okay, fantastic, cool. That's a good round for that. Viator or Logon, any particular thoughts on what you want to do, or are you still just continuing to kind of assess the situation?
I would like to get up with Bo and Claude and kind of back them up and try to convince them to go away.
Cool, perfect.
I'm going to jump on board with that as well.
Fantastic. So between the two of you, whether you want to do persuasion checks or intimidation checks, you've seen these intimidation checks work before, but that was kind of, as far as you're concerned, that was not really Claude's fault. He got smacked with some seawater. It was just bad timing. So you can either try to intimidate again, or you can try to persuade. Whichever one, to be honest, works for your stats or gives you the best chance to succeed.
They're both 0, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I was gonna say, since I see them coming up behind Logon and Viator, and now also Leon disperse them, can I now, like I was saying before, more try to persuade them to vacate? Kind of like, hey, you can see there's more of us. There's just as many of us because Ptolemy's doing his own thing. Well, not his own thing, but sneaking around. There's more of us than there are you. You've already lost one guy. I know it came off as, well, don't want to say that. But why don't we just, you see that it's, we're all in need here. Like, why don't we all just back off, calm down, go our own ways.
Cool. Yeah, so that's really useful, and that's going to aid what Viator and Logon step up to do as well in terms of their next steps. So they've kind of got this little bit of an introduction with Bo as like, guys, come on, just relax to here, think about this. What does either Viator or Logon, how do they want to respond? Maybe which of these characters maybe do they want to target?
I got a 16 in persuasion.
Cool. Any of these characters in particular catches your eye that you'd want to try to persuade to go away?
I can't really picture what we're looking at.
Okay. I will take that. So basically, there's a dog-like character, female axe, there's a guy with a stick, there's a farmer with a scythe, and there's a dude with a sword. They're all just sort of
a nice guy, so I think he'll listen.
Just real quick, Happy, you see that he's sharing his strain, right? In Discord.
Perfect. So basically, in that sort of persuasion, I imagine you're trying to just convince them of, like, what are you doing, guys? Like, this is really a time to help each other. Like, what are you doing here? Trying to, rob the butcher's shop.
I'm just gonna pile on the argument that everyone else is already putting out there.
Yeah, I mean,
perfect.
He's already said everything.
What if this happened to you? You wouldn't want people robbing you.
Yeah, fantastic. That's enough to make him. He's like, yeah, it's not worth this. This is not worth it. He's starting to see these growing numbers. He's starting to not worth it. The Noel, the dog-like character, he's definitely the most erratic. He's the one that doesn't seem to really be responding to any sort of activity so far. Cocky female axe, you can see she's well equipped. She's almost been used to using these axes probably for breaking and entering. This is just another day in the job for her. The guy with the stick doesn't really know what the hell he's doing. He's got a stick, for God's sake. He's not prepared for anything here. And Scythe, the farmer, he's just disgruntled. Like, just as far as he's concerned, life's been tough, and he's got to take something for himself here. So, but they can start to see these numbers are starting to go against them. And in that moment, guy with the stick is like, well, nah, no way. These numbers are against me. I've got a stick. That guy's got a giant shield. That guy's got a massive bow and arrow. That guy's got a kick-ass banjo over there. It's like he's like, nah, he's not having any of this nonsense. And they're starting to see this at the moment. So, any one last attempt by anybody to try to defer any of these characters based on what you've been picking up about them so far?
Nope. I just have Claude has his. He's not advancing on anybody, but he has his sword drawn, just in case somebody makes a move.
Yep.
He sees him draw a sword, and he steps one step back. Also pulls his rapier out,
in that moment, Bo, you start to hear a sound that you very much recognize. It's almost like a slight engine sound with a bit of swishing from like oars and paddling that you recognize very, very much, basically to be a collection of swamp vehicles. As you can imagine, swamp vehicles don't normally find themselves in the middle of a town, but of course there's a hell of a lot of water around here at the moment, so they've been able to find their way access into the land. You recognize a lot of these types of vehicles. That's where you hear the sound coming in. Hearing these sounds at that moment, these guys, the professional robbers, like, nah, right, as far as I'm concerned, this is the cavalry coming in. No, not having any of that this way. The farmers, like, right, it's like, this isn't worth anything to me. And you have this disgruntled dog-like character who's still kind of just chomping at the bit, ready to go, until he takes a stone right to the head. Like a David and Goliath. I forget what the name of that weapon is.
Slingshot.
Slingshot. Yeah, sling. Yeah, just popped right in the head. As you see this one tall character stand on the front of the boat, introducing themselves to the rest of the group. I get the right
just
picture.
A quick.
Yeah, just a quick. To the dog-like characters introducing themselves onto the front of the boat, and just says to the group, right, we need to get out of here. We're not hanging around. We're taking as many people as we can. If you want to come with us, come with us. A quick look over at Bo, maybe a slight bit of recognition, but shakes it off because not actually quite sure. I was like, you can either come now, or enjoy your bath, your seawater bath. It's up to you guys.
I look to Rian and I say, Rian, this is the one chance to get Jarvis out of here. What about? Do you know? Do we need to look for his family, or is this our only opportunity?
Yeah, we're just gonna get Jarvis safe at this point because he's unconscious from the pain. We can't really figure out where he might have sent his family or where they might have gone before all of this happened.
So basically, you get onto the boat. You get onto the same boat as our feline character here, who has expertly dealt with the knoll. And these boats just almost a combination of with some oars, just quite swiftly turn. Bo, these things are very nimble. Can pick up a bit of speed if they can get some momentum. They're not that fast from a stopping start or from a stopped position, but once they get moving, they get shifting. And they're nimble and they're quick, and they're going to make their way out of town. Kind of between what would be the areas of Donneroy, the most southern of the three towns, and Shellberg. So they're going to, as they'd made their way to this other half of Shellberg was very waterlogged. So there's still a lot of moving water here. These guys are able to shift in and out of buildings, almost down in and out of alleyways, making their way towards the very, very tall trees and what would eventually become swamp waters, which are moving particularly fast. Especially in your experience, Bo, they don't normally have this amount of moving water. But as you can see, there's been a pretty seismic shift in water distribution in the area of the Bermuda trifecta. Okay? And basically allows us to make our way at a Shellberg. You're basically on the main ship going towards this now more traditional swamp area, which is outside of the towns of Shellberg and Donneroy. So a bit more inland, but there's water here. But this water is moving quite quickly, especially compared to most other times of the year when this would be quite still water and doesn't really move a lot. But there's been an unnatural displacement of water within the last few hours. So as you are chugging along.
Are we going against the grain then, if you will? Like against the flow, like you said, there's that flow of water.
To be honest, the water is actually a bit erratic, so sometimes you are with it, and sometimes you're not. You are against it. I think it's just the natural sort of geography is almost trying to reset itself. But these ships are more than experienced at dealing with these waters, so it's actually quite a smooth trip for them as you're just basically shifting in and out of the water.
Am I on the same boat as this? What is this character? Like what do I reckon? Like what kind of race are they?
I forget what actually it is. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the Skyrim one, which is a Khajiit.
Yeah.
Khajiit. Okay.
So we'll go with Khajiit at the moment. I know there's a different one, but this character's almost just standing at the front of the boat. It's got a wee cigarette in there. It's got its foot up on the bow, knee bent up. It's just watching. You know, it's just got a perpetual aware. You can see its ears almost like wee satellites are just constantly twitching forward and back, left to right. It's very hyper aware.
Can I approach him and see if I know him or introduce myself?
You have to do a perception check, please.
All right.
And Viator, I'm also going to ask you to do a perception check.
Got an 8.
Right. As far as you're concerned, that is a Khajiit at the front of a boat. Congratulations.
All right.
You've perceived that correctly.
Perception 23, 22.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Viator, as you're looking at it, you can see that there are wraps around the wrist of this character. There's some material around the wrists, and the ankles of this character are exposed to the elements. You can see some long-heeled bruises along what would be the wrist areas of this character and along the ankle areas of this character. They're similar to bruises that you have on your wrists and your ankles. So you've noticed this through your own experience. So that's what you notice from this character going forward. Bo just realizes this hyper-aware, hyper-vigilant Khajiit type character at the front of the ship. But you're approaching. You both got some experience with swamp vehicles and going through these types of waters, so that's how you're sort of approaching.
Okay. Can I talk to him? Kind
of. Yeah. So Bo's walking up there as well. You can walk up there as well at the same time, if you wish. But at the moment, Bo is right there beside you for any conversation that you would want to have with him.
Okay. Can I ask him what happened? Why he has his bruises?
He just looks at you and just sees you. He looks at you and has a slight moment of looks down at your sort of arms and legs and has a slight moment of looking like he's about to open up. But he sees Bo and he's like, nothing. It's a long story.
Gotcha. I guess
you're really starting to feel like a third wheel right now.
Yeah, I get that. I get that feeling. I see him look at me, and I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm like, not wanted here. I'll step back and go tune my banjo to the side. And maybe listen intently.
And he takes a cigarette and just kind of just blows it in your direction. Hey, but he does go later on. I might have a request for you. If you know the Swamp Lady of Magadoo, I might ask that for you.
I'll check my notes, see if I can.
That's a pretty common swamp song for you, yeah. So that's a pretty common one, yeah. Cool. So cigarette back in the mouth, and Bo starts to walk away.
I nod at Bo and tell him thank you for let me have this one-on-one real quick. Then I turn back to him and ask him again. I noticed your bruises and your markings on your wrists, and I just want to know what happened. What happened to you?
I imagine it's just a pretty similar story to yourself, my brother. You have the look of a Daggerford man, if I can tell, and I'm just outside of Daggerford myself, and as you can see, that Most of us are a long way from home, and it wasn't quite our decision to be here. Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, lost my family. I don't want to be here.
Yeah. Involuntarily transported here as well. Similar to myself, I see you have the markings of our jewelry per se. So if you need anything, brother,
Sounds good.
It's not home. It's not home, but we'll do our best. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Trying to figure out how to navigate this. Is there anything I can help him with?
Probably just more if you're asking stuff. But at that moment, while you're thinking, you kind of almost have a solemn moment together as you are almost both kind of wrapped up in your own world and your own past stories. He looks around and he sees Rian looking after Jarvis, and he goes, "By the way, that was a pretty nifty looking brace or splinter there for his leg. I really get the feeling he's going to recover from that quite well." He's actually not the first drow that I've seen today. As you can imagine, they stand out pretty well. There was actually a woman and a child were one of the first people we picked up on our route here. I know we're not normally accepted into the city, but we just try to help as much as we can.
Are they still on the boat? Do you know their names?
Oh, he didn't actually realize that you were listening, and he turns around at that point and goes, I didn't catch the names, but they were on the first set of boats that came in. We're the second trip, basically the second party to come through. So they're actually going to be at our hub. It's called Magfill. So they're going to be in Magfill right now. I'm not going to guarantee anything. It literally could just be a coincidence, but as you can imagine, there aren't too many drow in these parts. So I hope it's the people that you're looking for. He gets back to his cigarette and Theodore, there's a really nice smell off that cigarette.
Mm-hmm. Can I bum a cigarette?
I would, brother, but it's a bit nippy, like feline nippy, so I'm not quite sure it would quite sit with you. You can bum it if you want, but it's kind of a home blend. It's a bit more suited for my dichotomy. So don't take offense, okay? I don't want you throwing up over the bow of the ship for the rest of the journey.
I appreciate that.
Okay, brother.
But it smells great.
Yeah. Oh, it tastes pretty good as well.
Tommy's kind of just pacing the ship and like looking at every part. He's happy to be back on a ship, but I'm much more of an open ocean, and with all the trees and the closeness, I'm feeling just a little claustrophobic. So to distract myself, I'm kind of just checking out every part of this ship, just how it works, how it's going, how it moves, its functions, just to kind of distract myself a little bit.
Fantastic. Anybody else doing anything?
Sorry, did he say where we were headed?
The only place name that you picked up was Magfill.
Magfill. Okay.
Yeah. So Magfil.
Was it discussed why he picked us up?
It was discussed that basically they're almost the equivalent of like a rescue party. They sensed the disturbances in the water that were affecting the swamp, made their way in towards town, and saw the catastrophe, saw the destruction of just trying to save as many people as they could, bring them back into their area. They're not normally accepted in the cities as often as you would want, but they don't hold that against the people in these moments of crisis.
Okay, thank you.
Claude's going to walk up and hold his hand out and introduce himself. He's like, Claude Marcel Brightward. I've been around here for a while. I've never seen a dragon like that before. Do you know what that was?
At that point, he turns around to Viator, and he looks at him and just kind of goes,
He's good.
Good. So he holds out his paw, and he goes, name's Dusty. Dusty. No, there's... You said there was a dragon? Like, we just sensed, the water changed. You said there was a dragon?
He was massive. He caused the tsunami. That's what caused the flood. He came out of the water, told us we had trespassed and destroyed a third of the city.
Now, this is really important. Was it definitely a male dragon? Or... And you can see there's real apprehension in his voice when he's asking that, but it's like, this is kind of important.
It introduced itself as Casera. I don't know.
He's just like immediate taking a step back, like immediate recognition of that name, but it's Casera. And yeah, and she's back. Like what? He's almost like playing with his ears. He's almost just trying to reassure himself, and he's like really taking a lot of hits now, and his cigarette. Right. Okay. This is more desperate than I thought.
What do you know of this dragon, Dusty? Back. What do you know of her?
I know she's not what potentially scares me the most. I know she's not the only one. But that certainly explains what's been happening to the trifecta. We've seen, there's been no fish coming in. As you can imagine, I have a particular affinity to a pescatarian diet. There's been no fish coming in. There's been no trade with the water, and it really is starting to make sense now.
When did you notice these things?
It's probably months now. It's it takes a while in general for supplies to get to us. As you can imagine, there's a bit of a lead time in that, so we thought maybe just it was seasonal, but it was lasting too long. And then we realized things like pearls were no longer being secured, prawns were no longer being secured, crab wasn't even being secured, like nothing, like almost nothing water-based. I have had enough of stinking beetroot and carrot, and fungus, to do a lifetime. It's like it's starting to make a lot of sense now.
So you're telling me that there's more than one of those big ass water dragons out there?
I didn't say water, but I don't think it's probably not best for me to say. But if I can take you to my leader, my clan leader, Xeris, he'll be able to. I think he'll be able to tell a little bit more. To be honest, like from what I know, and you're talking about a ginormous size of a dragon, that's not what matches up with me. Like, maybe the size of like a town hall, maybe a good size, but not colossal. And don't take this wrong, but have you guys ever heard of perspective? Like, was it big because it was really close, or like, was it actually big?
I've been out at sea, and I've seen some big creatures, and this thing was bigger than any whale I've ever seen.
Right.
This thing could have swallowed a whale whole.
This is not right. This is not the way it's. This is very, very concerning.
Just real quick, out of character, I might have just fucked our entire party if I just said this dragon has 2 big eyes. Just throwing it out there. As I was saying it, I'm like, oh fuck, I just might have just destroyed all of us. But anyway, yeah, it's big. It could swallow a whale.
Yeah. As DM, you did not.
Okay.
It was colossal.
Okay.
So
I just took your like dragon that was like maybe like this and just like, oh yeah, he's like this.
Another big fish story.
Yeah, another big fish story.
Say when. Just say when.
It was already colossal, but it just got a lot bigger.
Seriously?
Yeah. So basically back to Dusty. He's making a big deal about the size of this thing. Like not even the fact that there is one. It's probably more the size that's really like something's seriously not right here.
DM Radishine, he might have my stream open, but he's too focused on everything to pay attention to chat.
The end room just goes like, like we got to get there quickly, and there's a shunt of momentum. You can still talk to him, but there's a definite shunt of momentum. It's a little bit less concern for survivors and a little bit more, we gotta go, when it comes to that.
Dusty, I know we're in a hurry. Do we need to send word back to the trifecta? Do they need to evacuate? How bad is this going to get?
They should.
They can catch the next ship.
Yeah.
How do I say?
As a DM, there's no wrong answer, so don't be worried about. Oh my God, you're ruining the plot. So just say what Rian would do.
Rian's gonna open up to the party a little here. My clan, the Felten clan, a little less than a year ago, was completely wiped out by a dragon, and I've been trying to find more about them since I really want to protect the rest of the people from these dragons. They're destroying lives.
Rian, that dragon was talking to you directly. Do you know that dragon?
I can't say that I know that dragon specifically, but I definitely run into a younger one that I tried to protect once, but I learned the true nature of dragons not long after, and my mistake cost me my whole clan.
Was it that dragon that you've seen before?
No, this was a younger dragon. It was.
Yeah. But it was blue.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 of them.
I see.
Or more from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Chat, y'all are hilarious. I'm trying so hard not to crack up, but I keep looking over at chat.
So I just start to play the tune that the Kahit Dusty kind of requested. I don't know, try to uplift some spirits or maybe take our minds off it while we get to what was the name of the place we're going? Magville. Yeah, there it is.
So as you start playing this song, you can see Dusty's busy, lighting up another cigarette. Really concerned, really getting the mood. But once he starts to hear the song, you can see one of his ears twist towards you, really taking it in, and you can see his foot bob a wee bit on the bar and his head going. Yeah. Let's go. So he's really enjoying the tune. Okay. Basically now, as you are making your way into it, you start to see a large green presence on what would be the horizon of this swamp area.
Question for you: how long was this journey? Was it enough to qualify for a short rest, or are we still kind of on edge?
Yeah, I'll count it as a short rest. Choppy water, so maybe just by the time you got into the boat, got into the area, and swam down the channel, so I'm going to go with that being a short rest, so around about an hour. So anyone who has any hit dice that will be on your sheet, you can use that as the equivalent of basically a mini heal, right? You have as many as you have that are to your level, so you have basically one each at the moment. If you want to use that to regain a little bit of health, you can roll it. Whatever that dice is, that's the amount of hit points that you gain. If you do use any, they only refill when you take a long rest.
Where do we see our...
Is the only reason for a
at?
short rest to regain HP? Is there any other benefit?
Depend on some spell casters. The spell will describe it as, like regain after a short rest, but it will say that in the spell. Okay. Generally, spell slots are recovered by long rests, but sorcerers in particular, which I believe Rian is sorcerer. Yeah. One of your kind of advantages is that you can regain spell slots by short rests as well, and the descriptions will be in that. Okay.
Lucky duck.
So,
Agent Poltergeist, just go with the name that is in the border.
As we make our way towards this large green structure.
Wait, is that one not working?
Very, very intimidating to look at, but it's not moving. It's
that one not working?
Basically statuesque.
Oh, it did work. Okay.
It's a large structure made of very natural materials. It's interwoven branches, it's leaves, it's weeds, it's moss along that sort of line, which leads to a large branch. And as you make your way towards it, this branch starts to open up. And the boats slip through underneath this entryway. Okay? Brings you to, as I get my pictures up here.
Absolutely, Ray. Take inspiration from others.
Basically, your boats come in from the right here and pitch up beside this wooden walkway for Magville. You can see that these are staircases. These are very large trees. These are walkways around the trees. So they're elevated from the water. And these are basically different treetops as we go along with, as you'd imagine, the most woodworking and structures being around this main tree up into the roof space of that. Obviously, I've given you the bird's eye view with the roof kind of off it, but there's basically rooms in there. You can see torches going by and just a little bit of movement, a little bit of scuttling. You hear a few more sort of excited voices or activity in this area, which is the second largest building, and a little bit more movement and people coming by in like white sheets and bringing in some more supplies back and forth, and the three quieter buildings, which just have a few, if you want to call them guards, but they don't even look that particularly like almost just standing watch with that. As soon as you get there, Dusty shoots off the thing and goes straight up towards the main area here. Even if anybody did call after him, you can just tell he's not stopping. He's got a message to send. He's straight up into the middle area. As he turns around, he goes, "Oh, by the way, Drow." He's kind of looking towards Rian. That over there, basically our kind of survivors, refugees, whatever you want to call them. They're sitting over there. Okay. Like I said, hope they're what you're looking for. And shoots off towards the main building.
Claude's gonna turn to Rian and go, "Hey, I'll give you a hand. Let's get Jarvis taken care of."
Yeah, I've got his arms.
Yeah, so
stabilize his legs.
Yeah, levitate's no longer working here, and yeah, so you're just sort of carrying him? Just hands on the armpits, hands on the feet?
Whatever's least painful. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the waist. I don't know. Grabbing his legs. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas.
Can we-
Come on, give us another like.
Can we fashion?
Yeah. I come over to help out as well.
Okay. So you've got Tommy, you've got Ryan, you've got Claude, basically carrying Jarvis up the sort of steps. They're a little bit awkward. They seem steady. They do a lot of creaking, but you don't really feel like they're moving. But they're quite old. They've been there for quite a while. So this is not brand new structures. These are kind of well established structures. They've got a bit of age. To them. And then there's Bo, Viator, and Logan, basically near the bottom of the boat. And people are just watching you. They're not particularly paying attention. They're just watching. Just you're the next set of people coming on a boat. That's the attitude they have to you at the moment. Is there anything you guys want to do before we check up on Jarvis?
So I've been here before, right? Well, I've been here before. I know these areas, so I wanted to follow the Kahit Dusty up into the main area if they have him under control.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So Bo's going to make his way towards where he saw Dusty going. Viator, Logan, do you want to do the same? Do you want to go check on with the guys with Jarvis? Is there anything else you're particularly looking for?
Logan's just going to tag along with the group and Jarvis.
So Logan's going to go follow with the Jarvis group. Viator, what would you like to do?
I think I'm just going to tag along as well.
Yeah, okay. So you basically got the 5 going towards the Jarvis group, and Bo is basically following Dusty up towards thing. So we'll check out the Jarvis group first. Claude, you're at the front, basically potentially holding the legs. I think Tommy maybe in the middle, round about the waist, and Ryan up near the head. Yeah. You make your way towards these areas. You basically have other different sort of humanoids and creatures. They're not all Khajiit. There's a bit of a mixture across this, a couple of different species. Mainly sort of other humanoids, so other sort of, elves, half elves, humans, along that sort of line. Some of them are wearing very, very similar garments. Some of them are wearing garments that are more closely related to the towns themselves. So there's a mixture of helping and needing to be helped as you make your way towards this large hut area up in the top right here. And they're like, come on, bring him on, bring him in. How long has he been out?
Couple of hours. So we just got here from Shellberg with Dusty. I think his leg got fucked up.
Takes a look down at the leg and goes, wow, yeah, really nice job here. Especially in that sort of environment, it's nice and clean, good strong splint in there. Good. There shouldn't really be too many more concerns other than the initial recovery with that. And she kind of looks over and sees you sort of nodding and being a bit proud of it. Goes, oh, was that your work?
I did the best I could. Well, appreciate it.
Well done. I have to say, very well done. In fact, we could potentially maybe use your help on some of the other folks here that are in a little bit of worse condition, if you wouldn't mind sticking around.
Yeah, I'll do whatever I can.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic.
Do you by chance have like a liquid courage section of this area that maybe I could grab?
Yeah. Like the distraction that there's rubbing alcohol, yeah,
Yeah. Half of that is what I'm looking for. If you got rid of the rubbing, is there like an area that I could?
There's the pantry up in the northwest corner.
That sounds good. Tommy gets kind of wonders.
Is a community pantry.
Community. I'm all about community. As I'm making my way away.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then looks at Ray and catches Ryan's eye. I can see the real concern and just walks over and was almost going to put hand on the shoulder, but just decided, just sort of want to kind of catch her eye and go, he's going to be okay. he's going to be okay. In that moment, you hear a small child voice. It goes, "Rian! Oh my God!" Rian! And this little boy or girl?
Boy.
Little boy just comes running in and just hugs your leg. Goes, "Oh my God, you see it, and you brought Daddy! Yay!" It's like, "Oh my God!" And you can see, what would be obviously Jarvis's wife in the corner, and she's almost just, she's just in shock. She can't believe it, and probably at that moment, you can see an element of trying to be strong for the child, but seeing Jarvis in this state, and she just breaks down in tears on your shoulder, gives you the biggest hug in the world. She's been keeping a strong face here, and this just completely shatters in this moment. Not only are you safe, but Jarvis is safe, and just confusion, fear, relief, everything just floods her psyche at that moment.
Just comforting Lorna and happy to see, we'll say, Jarvie.
Yeah.
Jarvis Jr. and Jarvie.
Yeah, Jarvie and Jr. And just at that point, Jarvie Jr. is just doing nothing. Like, he's in his own wee world now. He's just wrapped around your leg. That's it. That's almost, as far as he's concerned, it's just the single greatest place in the world right now. He looks up, and a moment he wants to get distracted, and just like a childlike innocence, he goes to touch the splint that's on the side of the leg, because he just hasn't seen this before, so he just reaches out towards that. And just without any interruption, he grabs the splint, and he's like,
maybe not there. Maybe hold his hand.
Oh yeah, okay. And he just holds his dad's hand, but he's holding it with like two hands. He's like, "Is this? It's like this?"
He can use the comfort. That's wonderful. I'm sure he's just glad you're here.
And he holds it up against his face. He goes, "I'm here, Daddy. I'm here, Daddy. It's okay."
Claude leans over to Rian. This is his family, I'm guessing.
Yes, Lorna and Jarvis Jr. Jarvie.
Cute.
So with that there, they bring Jarvis Senior, just into a corner, sets it up on basically a kind of a makeshift cot that is there, and just Lorna and Jarvie are just by his side. Lorna is basically just stroking his hair, almost picking out wee leaves and bit of dirt. That's all she can kind of do to keep herself busy. Just all this sort of debris that was in amongst the water, and it's just picking it out of his braids. But she's just like almost in disbelief.
Was it Logan or Bo that went with Dusty?
Bo.
Just where'd Bo go? I'd like to talk to Dusty, and it seemed like Bo might have some familiarity a little bit.
Cool. At the moment, just because you guys went one direction, he went later, you've no idea at the moment. You can ask, but you've no recollection of what that is. Like, Bo doesn't know where you are. He's an idea, and you're in amongst this tent. There's other people walking around, so you could potentially ask them where they are, but you don't know off the top of your head. Viator is there, and Logan is also there. They're almost just standing outside the door, because they weren't physically involved with carrying Jarvis in there, so people are kind of walking back and forth past them as well. So between yous, you should be able to find out that there's the main tower area in the middle, and that's where Xeris is going to be, and that's probably likely where Dusty went in that moment. Kind of getting to that point, basically, you figure out that Jarvis is there, secure. Dusty, followed by Bo, is up towards the main tower. You guys, I'm just going to assume that in your own time, have decided to make your way up to this tower. And Bo, as he arrives first, is basically catching the tail end of Dusty talking to Xeris. And Xeris is a shaman-like looking character. that Dusty is speaking to. Quite animated, he's like yeah, that's kind of what you're getting sort of the tail end of things as you're coming
Rockbender, I
into
totally would if we could.
Conversation. Xeris is just quietly going, like everything is very slow and purposeful. You've no context or balance of whether this is fast or slow for him or normal. That's just what you see. And you can see lots of weeds and seaweed coming off his cloak. His hat is like a large lily pond. So there's a lot of very natural components to this character.
Now, is there?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah. So just in terms of the natural order of things, I'm going to let you sort of react first, and then the other guys can come in their own sort of time and assuming whenever they walk in. So I'm not going to say Claude enters or Rain enters. You guys just tell me when you enter, and then you can react accordingly to whatever conversation you catch up with. Tommy, you're making your way towards the community pantry. It's very, very easy to find. There's some drink, but it's mainly water skin. There were some barrels in there, but they're empty. As you can imagine, there's a lot of people in and out here, so you're really just down to the bare essentials. There's nothing particularly fancy.
Any kind of like juice?
Yeah, you can get like unripened like apple juices or orange juices, fruit based juices.
I get a little cup of juice and kind of reach in my jacket, do a little pour, and then make my way out of the community.
Yeah. See, as you were doing that, there's a really, really strong smell to that. Ooh, almost kind of resets your nostrils, but it's in there at the moment. Oh. You enter the room.
Who's that, me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I know I'm not very welcome by the way that the keep kind of looked at me, like kind of like, I don't know, shunned me on the boat. So, but I do know the area, and I'm guessing. Do I know any do I know the customs of is there etiquette to enter?
Yeah, you would. So amongst in terms of your experience with Swamp, and this would almost be a kind of like I'm just thinking of a term, almost like a backwater type trading post. Like there would be trading involved in this, and some of these areas and some of these customs. So yeah, you of all people sort of walking in, understand the way you talk. You're waiting for these people to finish, and you understand the type of tone to speak to, especially to this type of an elder in a group. So who, in terms of trading, wouldn't necessarily do the negotiating, but they are the ultimate yes or no decision of whether you make a sale.
Yeah.
Welcome to stay. So you understand that.
Yeah. So I kind of want to approach and kind of inquire if Dusty informed him about the dragon and what they know, or what can this be lead to.
Dusty looks over at Xeris, and Xeris looks over at Dusty, and Dusty goes, a quick nod, almost very slight twitch of a nod, and Xeris looks towards you and goes, "Hello, my child. Yes, I have heard of your predicament. This day, it's very unsettling. The scale of the situation is very concerning. It does explain a lot in terms of the lack of water trade and water-based products that we have. We've had to rely a lot on our natural resources here. Some of our fruits, if not prepared properly, can actually lead to intestinal problems. They're generally used for medical purposes if people are a little bit bunged up. But you don't have to worry about that. They smell particularly bad, so it's not really the sort of thing that you can accidentally take. But anyway, that distracted me from the point. There seems to be a real balance to things. We've heard of tragedies involving a dragon over the last, say, probably devastation, the likes of which has not been known for eons. And this water situation is extremely troubling, and unfortunately links quite closely with those events in the past that I've been talking about before. So,
I understand. I mean, I
heard of such things. Yeah,
I witnessed firsthand what it could do. It was the destruction of Shellberg. The group that I came here with as refugees, we rescued a drow elf, and it seems like his friend that we're traveling with, Dragonborn, seems to also know this, have a little personal experience with this. It should be coming around soon.
How personal would you describe it just before she joins us? How personal?
How personal do I think her experience?
The connection.
Was? Yeah. I mean, the way, from my understanding of it, it came off as somebody was slighted. So it seems, my understanding of it is it's just like them versus us. Clan war.
Okay. Because the reason I ask is what I fear is that if there is a personal connection, that could actually be the domino.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't want to speak for her.
Potentially wipes the board clean.
I didn't get the full story yet.
Well, that's all we can hope for, is that that's not the case, and it's. But we'll see what your friends have to say. As somebody is entering the room, if anybody wants to take the opportunity to come in next or come in as a group.
I guess I can go first. I had most of the want to be here.
Claude's going to stay in the infirmary, helping.
Okay. Fantastic. Claude's helping.
I'll walk in behind Rianne.
Logan and Tommy, whereabouts are you guys? Just to give a slight idea.
In the doorway, observing. Typical Logan.
Of the main area? Yeah?
Yep.
Perfect. Fantastic. So Logan's sitting at the door, keeping watch. Tommy.
Thomas is kind of just doing a slow wander around, just sipping and taking in this place. Not exactly needing to get anywhere.
As you're taking in the place, in different distances, you can hear like the water, wee bit far away. You can hear like slight bloop, and then some other very faint, distant sounds, and even every so often you do hear a whoosh far away.
Can Logan investigate that?
Yep, absolutely. What would you want to sort of look out for? What are you trying to?
I just track down the source of the sound.
They're coming from multiple different directions. The blubbing naturally will come from waters that are in the opposite direction that you guys came. It's not the way you came, further on ahead. The crushing sound, the thumping sort of sound, that very slow thud, is also in that direction. The whoosh was above you, but quite a bit further, let's call it north, away from your current position. Yeah. Okay with those two. Rian and Viator are in the main hut, and Logan is on the outside, basically taking in his surroundings at that time. Zeris looks towards you and just potentially seeing the pain on your face, goes, "Hello, my child. How may I help you this day?"
Are you the leader Dusty was telling us of that might know more about this situation?
Zeris.
Ceres. We're hoping to find out. Well, I'm hoping to find out more. If you happen to know where these dragons came from, they might be connected to my own history, and if you have any information about where they're staying now.
Can. Some people believe this to be more legend than factual. Details from these stories span eons. So bear with me, my child, as I try to explain some of the more fantastical elements of this. But as we know, in nature, there's ultimately always a balance. Elements themselves are what monitor and keep this balance throughout the world. These elements have been known to manifest themselves in many forms. Fortunately, you may have already found to be a dragon form, but they are also able to walk among us in chosen humanoid forms. But the reason this concerns me is that these natural forces always balance each other out. They were never, yes, you can see them, but they were never colossal beasts. They were never Titanic-sized beasts. There's obviously water, which I believe you have interacted with, and as you can imagine, there's air and fire and earth. This balance continues into 2 male and 2 female. Siblings, you may describe them to be. We believe the females to be the stronger of the siblings, but also the most at odds with each other. Fire and air, the female siblings, are supported quite often by the male siblings of earth and fire. They should never be able to overpower each other, but something has happened that has created this potential imbalance. And unfortunately, Shellberg is the way to go. The only known way we've known of an imbalance is if a foreign element has been introduced to one of the forces to potentially engage and enhance, and has led to this significant disruption in the equilibrium. Not known exactly what that might be, but it seems to have been the case, especially based on your stories before, of the sheer colossal nature of Casera. The other siblings are known as Aid, AED, that's the fire brother. Sidhe, Sidhe, the air sister. And a, let's call it, benevolent neighbor of ours, Danu, the sibling.
You say the air one again?
Yeah, air is Sidhe, Sidhe. Fire brother is Aed, Aid. And then
Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it.
And unfortunately, it seems like you have already met Casera. There are some individuals who have a particular sensitivity to this elemental balance. It has driven some mad before, but only if there was a personal connection between them.
Yeah, for real. I'm specifically not writing it down because I know my character's not there, so I wouldn't have this information.
So I don't know what that might be. or how that may have happened. But I think we need to find a way to reform the balance, claim the equilibrium within nature. And I would just be afraid that due to the significant impact on Casera, that I don't think it's just as simple as acquiring the aid of the other siblings, although it is the only way that I can think to start at this time.
Did you just say we need to work with the other dragons?
Dragons, by their very nature, are actually more guardians than aggressive. That's always been my experience, unless there's been I don't even know how to describe it.
My clan died to these dragons. They ran from them to begin with when we came to this world and left the dragons that were enslaving our people before us, generations before, and they followed us here, and now they've taken my clan down. And if you've only had good dragons, we've only had bad from our world previously to this one now.
And
if you wish, my child, I can help you unlock some memories of that time, which may provide greater insight. And this, I think, would be useful for all of us going forward. But that is your decision. If you wish to keep that to yourself, that is up to you. But even if that was the case, I wouldn't recommend it now. It's been an incredibly exhausting and impactful day. I would just offer all of you temporary sanctuary here for us to discuss further going forward. At that point, you just hear another whoosh sound over the treetops, and more of the sound creeping off into the distance as some of the larger trees that Logan can see and Tommy can see actually begin to shake a little bit further off into the distance. So please accept our restful invitation, and I think we should discuss this further in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna need to mull this over a bit.
Is there a way I can do like an insight check to check and see if we can trust this guy?
Yeah, of course. So insight is exactly it. So you roll a d20. Anyone who wants to look at him and try to get an idea of whether he's telling the truth, or his tone, or if there's potential for like lies of omission or selective truth telling, anybody can give a roll for that.
Okay, I'm gonna do 21.
21. Yep. Anyone else rolled?
I did.
There's an insight. There's an insight modifier.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
On your sheet.
Okay, 18 for me.
Logan, while you were trying to pay attention to what he was saying, your attention was probably split between this almost natural or potentially unnatural phenomenon that's occurring outside of the building where you're standing. So it's probably got your attention more, so you can't really tell. What do you think of that? Ryan, while it's very disturbing what you're hearing, you don't seem to sense any attempt at deceit. You most are slightly taken aback at with the context of the aid that Xeris has given with the refugees and looking after people, that he is telling you what he knows, and what he at least believes to be true. Yeah. Viator, something very, very similar with you. Your extra bit of detail is looking at Dusty at the same time, and you didn't notice any moments where Dusty was kind of looking at him as he told sort of particular points. So there was no sort of indication of Dusty thinking, "Oh, you're gonna try to make her believe that." There's no sort of indication from him. He seemed very solemn. That's what he knew. If anything, some of the details are brand new to him as well. He kind of knows of these threats, but he doesn't know of the full legend. So it's more of an inquisitive look as opposed to a, really, you're going to try to get away with that one? So as far as you're concerned, he's also telling the truth. Oh, I think that kind of lines it up nicely with the timing of it and just sort of bring it to that point. A little bit of a narrative dump in some cases in terms of what this character would say, but I kind of got the feeling that the crowd were happy to soak up some info. So I thought I'd give you some Xeris dialogue for our particular character here.
Is that 6 or 7 S's?
There's a couple of silent X's in there as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay.